Hello and welcome to this video on integer subtraction. This will be the first video for integer subtraction, and we're going to do something called a strategy called adding the opposite. And in the other integer subtraction videos we'll actually do subtraction there, and you'll see that in future videos. But I wanted to show you something that follows right up with the addition that we just did, where you can continue to do addition just by converting a subtraction problem. And this is called adding the opposite, and you'll hear that probably elsewhere too, but this is just a strategy called adding the opposite. So I'm just going to work some problems here, and since it's just a continuation of addition after we change the problem around, or change the format. I need to be careful saying change the problem, because the problem is still the same, it's just rearranged. Okay, so with that said, let's look at this first one. We're saying here -2 minus 6, and instead of minus we can just say remove, because that's essentially what we're doing. Well, whenever you subtract, you can also do what this says right here and add the opposite. So let's rewrite that, and this problem is now the same as -2, and instead of minus 6 we're going to add the opposite, which would be adding, so plus a -6, because this is currently removing +6. We're going to add -6. Okay, so let's use our integer counters to do that. We're going to start with two negatives, right? Two negatives, and we need to add 6 more negatives, so we can just add these up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more, and we're done. So what does that give us a total of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. So our answer is -8, right? They're all red, so they're negative. So now let's do this on the number line. And by the way, you will see all of these same problems on another integer subtraction video, where I'm actually using subtraction and still using the integer counters in the number line, and it's just a different way of looking at it. It's keeping it as subtraction there. So you can watch that video, and whichever method works best for you, that's the one you need to stick with. Maybe it's this one, maybe it'll be the other videos on integer subtraction. So whatever works best for you is what I want you to use. Okay, so let's do this on the number line. So let's set our 0 point probably over here. We'll set it right there. -1, -2, -3. I've got to write really small here to fit this in. -6, -7, -8, -9. That's enough. And then this is +1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we start. We're going to use the same as where we've rearranged things here. So we start at -2, right? We start at 0 and we go to -2, right? So let's go there. 1, 2 negatives, and then we're adding in 6 more negatives. So if we're adding in 6 more negatives, we need to go in the direction of this integer sign right here, which is currently a negative, right? The operation sign is now addition, right? And our integer sign is negative. So when we add, we always go in the direction of our integer sign, which is negative. So let's go in that direction. And here our integer sign was a negative and we went left, right? So we're going to go left again, 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Takes us out to -8. That's the same answer, so that checks out. Okay? Alright, now let's go to this one. So we have 4 remove 5 negatives. 4 minus a -5. Okay, let's do that. Let's change it to the same as, so that we're adding the opposite. Adding the opposite. Okay, so let's see. We've got 4 plus the opposite of -5, which is +5, right? Okay. Now, this is a great example of how this really simplifies it using this method. I mean, I really believe that that'll be the case for you, because if you first look at this 4 minus a -5, you have to stop and kind of think about that. Once you move a little further forward, and you can do these things a lot faster than you'll probably be able to do them right now when they're new to you. But you can see that this is so much easier. I mean, you know this right off the top of your head in this form, and it's the same thing. This, I want to make that clear, this is the same as all of this. Okay? It's just written a different way. Alright? Make sure you're clear on that. But this is so much simpler. But let's use our integer counters to do this. So we've got 4 positives, right, to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're adding to that 5 more positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're all positive, or all green, so they're positive, and that is a total of 9. Okay? Very simple. Very simple. Alright, so let's start. Let's put our 0 down here. Let's use our number line, make sure we get the same thing. It's a great way to do, especially in the beginning. Use both of these methods, the number line and the integer counter, so that you can keep things straight and double check yourself. Alright, so we start at 0. We need to go 4 in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, that gets us to right there. Then we need to go, and up here I just continued on the same line. We'll do it separate so it shows up better. We're now at 4. We need to go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the positive direction. Gets us to positive 9, which is the answer. Okay? Alright, let's do another one. We've got -5 minus -3. -5 remove -3. -5 remove 3 negatives. Okay? Alright, so let's rewrite this with our adding the opposite method. Alright, so we've got -5. We are going to add the opposite of -3. The opposite of -3, as you know, is +3. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so let's work this. This is just like the other addition problems we've done in the previous videos. So let's do that. We'll start with 5 negatives, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To that we need to add 3 positives. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you see the next thing we need to do is what? We need to remove our 0 pairs. So let's circle those up and remove them. 1, 2, 3 0 pairs are removed. We can mark those out. And what are we left with? We're left with 2. What color are they? They are red, so they are negative. So the answer is simply -2. -2. So let's go on our number line here, and let's put this in. We'll start 0 right here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. That'll be enough. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we start at 0. We go 5 in the negative direction, which is to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, that gets us right there. The next thing we need to do is go 3 in the positive direction, right? 3 in the positive direction. So let's go back this way, and 1, 2, 3. And that takes us to -2, which is the same answer, so that one checks out. It's good. Alright, now we have 3 minus, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, just a little, give us a little more room. Alright, so now we've got 3 minus 6, so that's the same as using our add the opposite method. We've got 3, let me change this back to blue there. We've got 3 plus the opposite of a +6, right? The integer sign here is a +6. We were subtracting it, so the operation sign was subtraction. The integer sign was a +6. So we need to add the opposite of a +6, which is, of course, a -6. Okay. So let's use our integer counters to work this. We've got 3 positives, right? That's what we're starting with. We've got 1, 2, 3. We need to now add 6 negatives to this. Let's add those down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next step, as you know, we need to get rid of our 0 pairs. We've got 1 0 pair, 2, and 3. Mark those out, and we're left with 3. And what color are they? They're red, so they are negative. So the answer is negative 1, 2, 3. Negative 3. Okay, so let's go over here to our number line and get this done here. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. That'll be enough. Okay, so we start at 0. We go 3 in the positive direction, just like it says, 1, 2, and 3. Takes us to right here. Now we need to go 6 in the negative direction. We need to go in the direction of the integer sign. So we need to go in the negative direction, which is to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Takes us to negative 3, right? So that one checks out. Okay, we got one more down here for us to work on. Scroll down a little bit. Alright, so you've got the hang of this by now, I'm sure. We need to rewrite this in our add the opposite format. So we have a negative 2 here minus a negative 4. Remove 4 negatives, however you want to say it. So we need to do the opposite. We need to add the opposite. So we need to add the opposite of negative 4, which is positive 4, right? Okay, let's get our integer counters out. Put down 2 negatives, just like this is. Then we need to add to that 4 positives. Put 4 positives. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know the drill. We circle our 0 pairs, mark them out. We're left with 2 that are green. They're positive. Okay, so that equals positive 2. Alright, let's use our number line here. Got 0, negative 1, negative 2. When we got 1, 2, 3. I'll put a negative 3 over here. We won't need it. Okay, let's start at 0. We're going 2 in the negative direction, just like this starts us out, right? 2 in the negative direction. So we go 1, 2. We're currently at negative 2. Then we need to go 4 in the positive direction, which is to the right, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes us to positive 2. That checks out. Alright, so this was a I think that you might see that this method might be easier for you, and that's why I decided to stick this video in first, and using this adding the opposite, because if you've got the addition down, which I believe you do from watching those other videos, then you're just continuing on there. All you have to do now is remember this adding the opposite method of rewriting our problem here, rearranging things like we talked about, and we've worked several examples here, so I think that should be fairly clear to you. And then we used our integer counters and our number line to work those. Okay, and again in the next videos we'll actually do subtraction, and I'll show you how to keep it as a subtraction problem. Alright, so I look forward to seeing you in the next video.